Well, sir, here we are. It is now going into week 6. It's time to start looking at teams and assessing them. We're going to do our power rankings this week. You ready, Michael?
I am very ready.
All right, cool. Well, welcome, everyone. This is We Are the Game. I'm Luke, and that's Michael. Like I said, here's our power rankings. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off from last week. Not take off, but take over from last week and use where things ended and then go through the divisions one by one and move teams where we feel like it's needed. Yeah. I'm actually going to kick things off here with the AFC North. I kind of switched things up on you last week, but AFC North this week.
Keeping it interesting.
Yeah, I like to keep you on your toes. The AFC North is weird. I don't think there's a whole lot of movement. I mean, the Joe Flacco thing doesn't move the needle at all, really, for me.
Yeah.
For the Bengals, it doesn't really change anything for the Browns. I kind of liked a little bit of what I saw from Dylan Gabriel. They still have a good defense. I think they'll probably win a couple games this year, but not enough to make them not a number one pick contention kind of team. The Bengals, their problem wasn't even necessarily quarterback, I don't think. I think it was offensive line, and Jake Browning's just terrified. And a little bit of his terrified turns into really electric, fun football, and then some of it turns into tragic 3-interception kind of football. The Steelers are still playing pretty solid. I've been pretty happy with how they've done, but they're not going to change because they didn't play this last week. So then you got Baltimore, who I can't put them in number one pick contention at this point. I just can't. Right. I do think Lamar will probably come back at some point and force them to win some games, but I think that will push them into the mediocre at best pile. If I just for the sake of moving something right this second, I'll put them at the a little closer, maybe the end of mediocre at best. But I think things right there are pretty much going as we've projected as of last week. Obviously, it's not going as we projected at the start of the season because Baltimore would be in the Super Bowl favorites kind of category, but it is just not going their way this year. So if they can get kind of healthy, start winning some games, they could move up this pile again. It's not that late in the season, but so far, so bad. So what do you think of the North?
Well, they're a mess, right? Like it's like the Steelers have kind of found their way a little bit, like an identity. But then you've got all these other teams that are just an absolute mess for all sorts of reasons. The poor Bengals and their, as you already pointed out, like their quarterback situations, unfortunate. What are you going to do? Yeah. Baltimore is just a real quandary because they have 50% more points for them than the Steelers have scored this year. But their defense is, I'd say at this point, they've got to be heading towards legendarily bad defense kind of status. So just a funny thing. I agree with you here as far as where you put them all right now. I'm just still a little bit shocked. This is probably the single division I was not expecting things to be where they are right now. So very interesting division in that regard. Unfortunately, not in the positive direction. So no, I agree with you.
Not for a lot of them. Pittsburgh must feel like they're dodging bullets. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, take us through the AFC East. Tell us what you think about the movement there, if there is any.
Well, one team that's not moving is Buffalo. Buffalo's staying where they are. I mean, they've had some challenges. They're definitely vulnerable. Yeah. What all the reasons for that vulnerability are, we'll see if everybody else tries to exploit that or can, or if they just had an off day. But yeah, I mean, right now, I think they're easily still in that hole. I expect that team to be at or near the Super Bowl towards the end of the season, so that one's fairly straightforward. It's a fun division this week because we get to move some people. New England continues to show that offense seems to be for real. They can put up some points on you in a hurry, and they can hurt you in a lot of different ways. Drake May seems pretty composed. I'm pretty excited to see what they do these next couple of weeks. I actually think I'm going to move them from missing the playoffs into potential wild card territory. I would put them in front of San Francisco even. I think that they are a dangerous team and that no one should overlook them right now. So we'll see how the next couple games go, but that's where I would put them. Would you agree with that jump for New England?
Yeah. I mean, they just did a big prove it game, and they proved it. Like, if you beat a Super Bowl favorite, I think you almost have to move unless it's, just obviously a weird fluke, kind of like when Green Bay lost to the Browns. Like, if they'd been able to keep that up and hold every team after that to 10 points, then maybe we bring them up some. But it felt like a fluke. This one didn't feel like a fluke when they beat the Bills. It felt like, it was a tough battle, but they came out on top. So do a bit more of that, and they're really going to climb this thing pretty quick.
Exactly. Exactly. Didn't mention Miami. Miami's still Miami, so we'll leave them where they are. I think Buffalo was the last 5-0 team technically before they got kicked out. And I think we've done a little bit of a disservice to the Jets by not acknowledging that they are the last 0-5 team. Now, I don't think that they're going to stay necessarily 0-5. They do get to play both the Browns and the Bengals at some point. And it also is strange because they do have an offense, and the defense is not good, obviously, but I don't know. It seems like there's teams that are worse. But I think for the moment, I think we should put them in the last position of first round compensation because they are the 0-5 team and they've owned that. So they can't seem to find their way out of it. I do expect they will win some games here in a couple weeks, but I don't know how we're not putting the 0-5 team at the bottom anymore. So I'll be the one to take the hit and move them down there. You think that's too cruel to the Jets?
No, I think
Jets fans.
I think that's how they're playing right now. It's not just their record; it's how they're playing right now. I do think that eventually they'll play. I mean, they've got the Dolphins. I can't remember if they've already played the Dolphins. I don't think they have.
Yeah, but they have to. Yeah.
Oh, have they? Oh, okay. And so, like,
well, I'm just kidding. They got to play. I mean, yeah.
They match. I feel like their run game against the team that just gave up 206 to Rico Dowdle matches up fairly well. So I wouldn't be shocked if they sneak the other game away from them. As you pointed out, the Browns and the Bengals. I mean, they're probably going to climb back out of number one pick contention, but right this second, they are absolutely playing like that team, and that's kind of what this is. So I totally get that. Okay.
Yep. Are you ready to take us over to the west side?
Not just yet. I'm going to ask us to go south first.
You should go to south.
Continue going around the horn. So why don't you take us then to the AFC South and tell us about the movement there?
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Well, there's the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time we step the Colts up. I think the Colts are playing phenomenal football right now. They're going to get some more tests, but they've been the test a little bit, and they kind of come through all those tests just fine. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to see week 13 where they play Jacksonville. I think in week like 13 and week 15 or something like that. That should be really, really good football, assuming both these teams stay on their current trajectory.
Yep.
But no, I think that they're in that Super Bowl contender area. I right now, I think they could upset anyone on any day. So yeah, I think that's where they belong. Jacksonville has been playing. How do I say that? Find a way to win football. They're not blowing higher end competition out, but they are definitely playing very competitive football. I'm actually going to move. I'm going to move them up into playoff team. I think in a lot of other divisions, we wouldn't even hesitate to put them in the playoff teams. I'll put them in front of Kansas City. I think. Yeah, exactly. I'll put them in front of Kansas. I still think they've got some things to work out and some areas to improve on Jacksonville, which is scary if they can kind of stay healthy. So Jacksonville's been a lot of fun. Houston had a big game this last week. I'm not really ready to move them, but their upcoming schedule has all the opportunity to move them, I mean, way up the list, honestly, because they play Seattle, San Francisco, Denver, and Jacksonville. So over the next 4 weeks, I mean, they could climb this up and be a contender. You know, if they win all 4 of those games, we could like their whole opportunity here is enormous. Their defense is phenomenal. Then we've got the Titans. We'll just leave them where they are. They're clearly still working through things and figuring things out. Maybe Cam took a step. Maybe Cam didn't take a step as far as his development goes. Next week will tell more of that story. But does that make sense to you? Any glaring omissions or overreaches there?
No, I don't think so. You know, I just realized I did this, and I'm guessing you meant to do this more.
Yeah, I probably would. You're right. I mean, I think it's a big deal just for them to be in that conversation. But yeah, you're probably right. Hey, that's a good point, though.
Yeah, I should have done that anyway. But
for how they're playing, yeah.
Yeah. No, I do think, you know, again, Cardinals fan, you can call me jaded for this or whatever. I felt like we lost that game more than the Titans won. And so, like, that's probably why I'd leave them down where they are. They have challenged some teams and will probably challenge some more. And maybe this gave them a bit of a confidence boost to go and do that. So you're welcome. You're not welcome. But and Houston did show some things in this last game, but it was against the beat to high heck Baltimore Ravens. So it'd be a minute. Like, I need them to prove that offensive line can protect CJ Stroud a bit, excuse me, when it's not a completely destroyed defense that he's going up against. So he'll get that chance. That list of teams you said they're about to play can get after the quarterback pretty well. So I do think leaving them maybe right around where they are is fair for the moment, but they have a real possibility to climb in the upcoming weeks. So I'm excited to see what they do. Obviously, they could drop down a bit as well, but it's a good opportunity. So, but yeah, no, overall, I agree with where things landed there. I'm excited by what Jacksonville is doing, and it's odd. Like it's not just odd that Jacksonville is winning; they're winning in odd ways. But that's fun. So we'll see. We'll see. Now I will take us out through the aforementioned AFC West. Good times in the AFC West. So I think I am going to, at least for the moment, bring the Chargers down just a little. They lost to Marion Hampton. They kind of lost a game in a fairly decisive fashion to Washington. And I think I'm going to bring them down. I still think they're a playoff team. I'll probably put them right around Jacksonville area, somewhere in, didn't mean to go that way. There we go. I probably just right around there. I still think they'll be in contention for that division, but it's not a lock like I thought it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. So they are slowly descending. They have all the ability to climb in the world, but they are descending a little bit. While Kansas City lost, they didn't lose they didn't get embarrassed. I still think they played really well. If you think Jacksonville's a playoff team and they just barely lost, and I think it makes some sense there. Combine that with Kansas City's ability to consistently prove that they are a good team. I'll give them a little bit of credit for that. I think that they just stay right where they are. Denver had a great win. And right now, I would say that Denver is breathing down the Chargers' throat or neck or whatever. Throat would be weird. And so I'll put them right there next to them, almost tied for that spot. We'll see upcoming weeks. A lot of that will shake out, and that'll be good. Eventually, we'll get these teams playing each other again, and that will be fun. And then you got the Raiders. The Raiders, I had hoped coming into the season that they would have figured some stuff out. I didn't realize their O-line was as bad as it's been. And Geno has regressed to pre-Seattle Geno. So it has not been good. Combine that, I think they're right where they ought to be. They do have some strengths, kind of like some of these other teams in the number one contention area. They have some strengths. It's just not enough, and they don't have the core. They don't have the foundation to really push that team into what they can actually be. So we'll see. I'm kind of going to look at them again next year, most likely. I mean, we'll keep talking about them for this season. I imagine they'll win a game here or there, but I'm not all that optimistic. So what about you? What on the West?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It's getting to be a more and more interesting race, if you will, between the Chargers and the Broncos. But with the poor Chargers, their ability to keep the running backs, and that's not on them. That's just a bad luck. There is the running back group keeping them healthy. Najee Harris and Marion Hampton. At this point in time, that's a huge impact to a team that needs to be balanced. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Denver's charging right now. Kansas seems like at some point in time they've got to right the ship, but because it seems like they always do. So it's a fun division. I agree with you. I don't think I would change anything differently than where you said. I mean, I really do kind of think that the Broncos sit, in my opinion, on the other side. But I don't think the margin yet is huge. I also think the Broncos, maybe that would be worth us talking about some other time, is I think the Broncos have a very easy schedule comparatively. That's kind of what it looks like. So that'll probably help them down the road. So no, I like this. I think you're right on.
Well, and it's liable to move quite a bit this week. I mean, the Chiefs, I know for sure, play the Lions, so that'd be a good opportunity for them. But it'll be good. It'll be a good week. All right. Well, then, speaking of the Lions, let's talk about the NFC now. I'll get into the NFC North. The Lions don't move. They are right where, you know what, they do move ever so slightly, actually. Yeah. Eagles, not to spoil anything, but Eagles coming off that loss. I think the Lions consistently winning in dominant fashion, I think gives them an edge over the Eagles. In fact, you know what, while I'm at it, I'll probably put them right there. I think right this second, that's right where the Lions belong. I know that's not really a big movement as far as up and down goes, but I think it says something to put them in front of those other two teams. But I mean, right now, those other two teams just came off a loss, so That's how it goes. The Packers came off their bye. Obviously, I'm not moving them. Same goes for the Bears. They'll get their chances to really show some more what they are, where they're moving soon enough. The Vikings, I'm going to keep the Vikings out of the number one pick contention for now. I still think there's enough talent on that roster. They're going to win enough games. I think having them right next to Baltimore makes some sense for kind of different reasons. But I do think that they'll win some games and that that they would beat most of the teams in number one pick contention. So I'll leave them right where they are. I know that's really boring for the NFC North, but half of the teams didn't even play this week. So still optimistic for both the Packers and the Bears. But, they get to get back in action this week. Hopefully they got healthy. So we'll see. What about you? Would you move maybe the Vikings or anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I'm tempted to move. I in my head, I would want to move the Vikings, probably because I'm a passive fan there on some level. But I think that they have a real chance to show that they deserve to be, as they play the Eagles, then the Chargers and the Lions. So even if they could come out two wins out of 3 there, I think they would be able to say, hey, we should move up because we're better. We can perform. But that'll take some real doing because that's a real challenge. So, we'll see how that plays out. But I think that's the only one where I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I think the rest makes a lot of sense. I really think that the 3 Super Bowl favorite teams are so marginal in my mind between them right now, which is fun. It's fun, right? Because it should lead to really good football down the stretch. Mm-hmm. So no, I like it. I like that. I like how you got the North laid out.
Yeah, I mean, just quick aside, like I know Minnesota won this week, but they beat the Browns and they beat them kind of barely in an ugly win. So I'm not ready to move them up because of that win. So you won.
If you beat the Eagles in an ugly win, then it's something. But it's the Browns, 100%.
If you could just beat I don't say the Cardinals, but like the Falcons, that would mean something. Right. But the Browns, I'm like, I need to see more. So
it's got to be somebody ahead of you.
Yeah, or at least even with you. But so anyway, okay. All right. Well, take us to the East then, NFC East.
Yep. Well, we got Philadelphia, and then just leave them where they are. That's about all I've got for them. Philly will leave where they are. Washington had a pretty impressive win. They looked better. I'm not 100% sure that I'm ready to move them quite yet, but that was a good win against the Chargers. They've got a Bears game, then they play Dallas. So I think I'm going to leave them right there for the moment, but they could definitely be moving here in the next week or so. Then let's see, the Cowboys, those guys. Similarly, yay, we beat the Jets. It was a pretty convincing win. Let's try to beat somebody kind of more peers before we go crazy. So the Panthers are coming up. I don't know what we're going to really learn from that either. So for the moment, I think Cowboys are staying where they are. And then the Giants. The Giants definitely should be kind of where they are. They are fun to watch. Like the Giants are intriguing, and you certainly cannot overlook them because they're too young to know any better when they go into big games. So with the Giants going to play the Eagles, should they pull that off, we'll have all sorts of conversations. But I don't see that happening. So we'll leave them where they are as well. I think that's pretty much it for the East. What do you think? Am I being too harsh on anybody or too generous?
I think you're being too harsh on both the Commanders and the Cowboys, to be completely honest. I mean, the Commanders just beat a team that I had in Super Bowl contenders. And so, okay, maybe you can't do that consistently, but you got Jaden Daniels back, He's playing, and he played pretty well. Wasn't crazy, but he played well against a good defense. So I'd have probably moved him up at least into the tail end of potential wild cards. And I'd have probably moved Dallas up. It's not that you played an amazing team necessarily, but you played well enough. And, I mean, looking at the other teams in missing playoffs at least, I'd be like, I'd put them in that group for sure. With Chicago and Atlanta, I don't think I'd have you below that. So I'd have probably moved them up a spot apiece. But
the way I was looking at it is if in the next tier, how confident am I that we are beating those teams? And at the moment, I'm not yet confident in that. We already lost to the Bears, and so that's kind of how I was looking at it. And yes, you're right. Washington beat the Chargers, and that is definitely a feather in their cap. But would I trust them to beat New England the way they're playing, or even a banged up San Francisco? that's just kind of how I was looking, and I could see it. Should that be a good game? They should be. I just am, yeah, that's kind of where I was at. I'm not opposed to your theory there for sure.
Well, either way. Okay, very good. All right. Well, then next, why don't you take us down south then, and tell us if anything's changed here.
Tampa Bay. So Tampa Bay, I would happily move Tampa Bay up if it wasn't for their defense. Their defense is the only thing that makes me want to hesitate on that. Their offense looks good. They clearly they can go and get a win when they have to. But I need to see their defense kind of hold teams a little bit more. It's like every game they play is a 1-score, 2-point kind of situation. Yeah. I'd like to see the defense again because they say defense wins championships. So that's the only reason I wouldn't do it. I would happily move them to the front of the pack here on playoff teams. I think if they can work out anything on their defense to just bolster it a little bit more, whatever that adjustment may be, and I absolutely think they can do that, I would happily move them up into Super Bowl contenders in the near future. And again, they also play the Lions coming up in the next couple of weeks, so they have the chance to charge right up this over the next couple of weeks. So I'm excited about Tampa. Atlanta's made some positive motion. They kind of have started to play a little bit more like what we saw, I think, at the beginning of the season. They beat the Commanders, who have had some positives. So I would still like to see them beat some more teams before we move them up too far. But I'll move into a potential wild card right behind San Francisco. So maybe that's too mean to the Commanders that I moved them up, but Atlanta did beat them, so there is that. And then who am I missing? I missed somebody here. Did I say the Commanders? I thought I said the
Panthers.
Panthers. Well, Panthers have a chance to go beat up the Cowboys this weekend. We'll see if Teterow McMillan gets a ton of yards, as a few people have been able to exploit in their running game. I'm not sure if Chuba's in, but we'll see how that all goes. We'll get into more about that later. But they have a chance to move up. To me, they're still the epitome of young and interesting, just because they're a lot of fun to watch. Hopefully, they're not too much fun this weekend. But I'm going to leave them here for right now. Yeah. And then the Saints. I think the Saints are still right in the right spot. Frankly, I think this is the spot they want to be in. I think they want to be in the conversation for early picks. Organizationally, sorry, fans out there. But yeah, I think that strategically is a good long-term plan. It makes for a hard season as a fan, though, for sure. But yeah, I think right now that's definitely where they're playing at is somewhere here in these bottom 6 or 7 teams. What about you? You think that's pretty close?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things about like the young but intriguing stack here is, they might be number 1 pick contention kind of teams, but they're almost given some kind of perceptual immunity from that just because they're interesting. So yeah, they might be, but it's like, whatever, they're young, they're figuring things out. And so there are other teams that when I think about it, I was like, maybe I should have put those teams in there, like Cleveland. But I don't know that Cleveland's intriguing so much as they are entertaining. Yeah. It's this weird circus kind of thing going on there, but it is what it is. And Spencer Rattler and potentially Tyler Shuck at some point this year down with the Saints. There are some reasons that you could consider moving them in there as well. And maybe we ought to put the Jets in there, except I don't think they're a particularly young team. They're fun to watch, but young is the wrong word I'd go for. So younger than me, I'll give them that. So, nah. But other than that, yeah, I mean, the distance between Atlanta and Washington, I think, is marginal. But I mean, if you really stack this up, that's exactly how it lands. But I do get the idea of, okay, you want to get into potential wild cards. Can you go toe to toe with New England or San Francisco? Like, oh, that's quite the barrier. Yeah, so I do agree with you there that at the very least they should be behind them. So okay,
yep, nice. Yeah. We'll take us home with the West.
The West. All right. Well, this won't be fun. So the NFC West, there's not tons of movement, to be completely honest. I know that the Seahawks lost in a very close game to a very good Tampa Bay game. So while I could be convinced to move the Seahawks down a bit, maybe the Seahawks to there, something like that, I'm not, sadly, convinced yet that I can take them out of that bracket. I still think that they have a lot of talent. I think that they were a play away from again beating the Bucks and breaking my heart even more this last weekend. So they should be right where they are. The Rams are still playing well. They lost to the Niners, which is why I'm gonna spoiler. I'm gonna move the Niners up. But again, I think the Rams are really healthy and it's working pretty darn well. They just got beat one game in a divisional matchup. So I'm not really going to take them out of where they are. I think that this is just about right. In fact, I'll probably have them in front of San Francisco because I'm still worried about San Francisco with the long-term injury, health, whatever implications. But I do have to put San Francisco up. I'll probably put them just in front of Seattle just because they're finding ways to win when not healthy. Yeah. And Lord help us all when they do get healthy. I know some of those injuries are year-long. They're season-ending for like certain guys. But if they start getting back like Kittle and such, they're going to be even more terrifying. And they already have a team that is they know how to win games. So they're liable to climb rather than liable to fall. And then we talk about the Cardinals. For the moment, at least, I have to drop them down into the next category down. I'll probably put them right about, I think that Minnesota and Baltimore are reeling even more than we are and have more problems. And again, I'd probably leave us right where we are, or maybe even move us up in front of the Bears. I can't remember exactly where we were 5 seconds ago. If we hadn't had three of the craziest plays you'll see all year. I mean, really, the botched snap where it went off his face mask isn't that crazy. But the defensive play, the interception turned fumble 6, that was 1 in a million. And then you've got the
Mercado,
the Adonai Mitchell repeat from Emari DeMercado. That's also kind of a 1 in a million. You just don't see those. We don't even see those every year. You needed all of that. Not any one of those things had happened by themselves. We still win this game. But we needed all three of them to happen to lose that game. So, but for the moment, we are not. We're a team that's finding ways to let other teams in and finding ways to lose. So at the moment, mediocre looks right up our alley. Can we climb right back out of it? Yes. But you look at our upcoming schedule and it's brutal. We're going to play the Colts this weekend and they're liable to make us look like fools again. We don't know if Kyler's going to play this week. So there's a lot that's kind of pushing us down right now. And could we overcome it? Yes. Do I think Kyler will actually end up playing this weekend? Yes, I do. But we are not putting it together. We have the ability, the talent to be a better team than where I'm putting us right now, but we're not putting it together week to week. Yeah. So until we do, I kind of got to keep us here. I don't think we're going to be number one pick contention. I think we'll win by accident. I think we'd win some games with Jacoby Brissett by accident. But this is just about right. So what do you think? Am I being too hard on my guys?
No, well, if it's about where they are right now and the trend that they're on, sadly, no. And there's some good matchups and there's some bad matchups. Obviously, look, any team that loses their starting quarterback, except the 49ers, they're going to be in a real pickle, right? They're going to be in a real pickle and they're going to get challenged to play anyone. But to go up and play someone who's like is in our Super Bowl contenders kind of group, that's a big task. That'd be a big task no matter what your situation was. So I think that they're in a bind right there for the moment. But no, I think at the moment that's kind of where they are, and they can move their way right back out of this. Heck, a win this week would head them in the right direction. Just throwing it up.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think I get the San Francisco and Seattle. I appreciate like how much you respect the Rams and the powerful passing offense that they really have and the coaching they have and the way that they find ways to win. I guess I'm less confident with the Rams than you are. Now that doesn't mean I think they're a missing playoff team or a mediocre team, nothing like that. I just don't think they're towards the head of this pack, or they haven't proven that to me yet. Partly just in the three, they played three really good teams. They played the Colts, they played the Niners, and they played the Eagles. And they've lost 2 of those 3 games. Now they were in those games, but they have lost 2 of those games. In a couple weeks, they play the Jags, which should be a very telling game as well. To me, they're right in the middle. To me, they're probably more right in the middle of the Seahawks, 49ers. I don't think I could pick who's winning this division right now out of how those 3 teams play. I know, the 49ers just beat them and all, but Yeah, I think that would be the only one where I was like, yeah, I don't know that I think they're towards the left side of this pack versus the right side of this pack. Who knows? Week to week, it all shifts. But no, I'm with you in the rest. I think that's such a challenging division right now. So be
Yeah,
interesting to see where they go next couple weeks.
it will. So hopefully my guys will figure it out. This will be a great week to do so. Indianapolis isn't invincible by any means. It's just they've had close games against good teams. So if we're a good team, then maybe it'll be close. But we aren't playing like that. So we'll see. But that's my hope. So all right, man. Well, fantastic. Let's wrap this up. This has been Power Rankings for week going into week 6. I hope you all have enjoyed it. It's certainly been fun to make it, except for the NFC West part. And yeah, we'll do it again next week. We hope that you all have a great week, and you'll join us again. On that note, if you wouldn't mind giving us a like and a subscribe, we're trying to get up to 100. And then you can join us again. We'll keep doing this. It'll be fun. I hope you have a fantastic day and a great week.